What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of Punters Playbook, alright? Where we've got about a 10 to 15% success rate on every single multi we've ever done, alright? You heard it here first, right? A stat came across my desk today that we have a 10 to 15% success rate in every single multi we've ever put on the channel, right? And if you're any good at math, then out of the 14 or 15 or 16 episodes of Punters Playbook we've ever done, okay, we've only ever hit 2 to 3 multis or something like that. 2 to 3 to 4 multis, alright? It was napkin math. Whoever did it wasn't me, it was napkin math, okay? Because I wouldn't do the math on my own, I wouldn't do my own stats, okay? I wouldn't do stats. I wouldn't be looking that deep into it, alright? I'm a pretty nonchalant guy. So, in this episode, we are going to go back to the basics. We're going back to rugby league, punting, Boy Scouts, boot camp. Something like that. We're going to summer camp, okay? And we're going to learn how to punt in this episode. We're going back to the drawing board, and we're going to reteach ourselves how to do this, okay? Because obviously I'm doing something wrong. 10 to 15% success rate. If their numbers don't pick up, step up, Punters Playbook could no longer be titled Punters Playbook. It'd just be titled, Bloke Has a Shot or something like that. We just have a go. We have a crack. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to win you guys money. So, all of that aside, thanks for all the support in the most recent videos. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Okay, we're on the road to 800 subs. We're at 746 at the time of this recording video. So, yeah, thanks for all of that. And let's get into Tippers Playbook. Let's get into the tips. And, let's see who I'm picking in round 20 of Rugby League, okay? We're back. We're back to normality. We're out of the bog, essentially. We're out of the bog, we're out of the swamp. And we're into the real nitty-gritty rugby league punting stuff, all right? Really why I get out of bed and why I started this YouTube channel. We all love State of Origin, but Clubland just seems to wither away. But we're back to a full eight games. Good, solid, midwinter rugby league. Okay, so first up, Thursday night game. It's been a while since we've had a Thursday night clash. And it's the Dolphins versus the Cowboys. I'm picking the Dolphins here. Back to the rugby league boot camp. Back to rugby league Boy Scouts. Okay, and I've got to pick the teams that on paper are going to win. We're picking on paper teams here, so I'm picking the Dolphins. Sharks Roosters is a hard game to pick because on paper they're both top 8 sort of sides. That hurts me to say that about the Sharks because I don't like the Sharks, right? But look, this is a late sort of mid-afternoon game. I guess you could call it the Sharks in the dark at the Shark Park. So the Roosters are going to have their work cut out for them, but here's the thing, all right, guys, the Roosters turn up for big games, and this is a big game. Now, coming into finals footy, the Roosters have got to show up a lot more. And I think this is a very winnable game for them. So I'm going to take the Roosters here. Probably the coup de grace of this round of Rugby League, and the reason why I've donned one of my, South Sydney vintage jerseys, all right? South Sydney versus Penrith, all right? The Rabbits versus the Penrith Panthers. CommBank Stadium, I believe, all right? Tough game, tough slog. All right, tough slog, but it got a little easier with the news that Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo wouldn't be there. All right, so the Penrith Panthers have lost their spiritual leader in Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo, skipper for Australia. So I think this has become a little bit more of an easier game for us. I'm obviously going to back my team. I'm going to back my squad. Okay, and that's the first thing you learn. That's the first thing you learn at Rugby League's Boy Scouts, okay? Punting Boy Scouts is that you got to back your squad. You got to back your team. And, can't let anyone steer you away from who you support. So I'm going to go with the Rabbitohs here. Raiders versus Parramatta. All right, good game. I've been enjoying watching Parramatta games lately, but I'm going to have to go with the Canberra Raiders. Smart man, pick the Raiders here. Bulldogs versus Dragons, I'm going to take the Doggies. Storm versus Manly, I'm going to take the Storm. It's at Amy Park, hard game to win for the boys from Brookie. Tigers, Titans, this is a real spoon bowl kind of thing, So I like the form of the Tigers more than I like the form of Titans. So I'm going to take the Tigers here. And then Newcastle versus the Wilds. I'm going to go with the Wilds here. I'm going to go with the Wilds. Because, Kalen Ponga, he's not sticking around. Let's face it. If you're reading the rugby league news headlines, all right, Kalen Ponga really pushing for this whole all black fullback jersey, whatever. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna take the Warriors here. That was sorry, I really didn't need to say that, but anyway. Onto the punting. All right, onto the punting, and because we're going back to rugby league Boy Scouts, honestly, do I need to give stats? Because I'm just going to pick the simplest stuff. All right, the stuff where if someone's getting into... I'd like to use the example if my girlfriend says, hey, I've got $5 in my sports bet account. Who do I bet on? All right, you just pick a winger who scores every week. Done. You know what I mean? That's the kind of punting I'm going for this week. We're looking for a 70% win rate this weekend. 70%. So that'll sort of give you the gist of what I'm going for here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But I am still going to provide stats because this is Punters Playbook, and sometimes you guys aren't going to follow my multis. You're not going to copy what I do, and you might actually, you might want to walk in your own path, and that's totally fine by me. All right. You're probably not going to have a 70% win rate this weekend like me, but it is what it is. So, first game of the round, Cowboys versus Dolphins. The away team has won each of the 5 previous matches between the Dolphins and the Cowboys. Each of the last 3 matches between the Dolphins and the Cowboys have gone over the total match points. First try scorer. Zach Labert has been the first try scorer in each of North Queensland Cowboys' last 2 matches against the Dolphins. So, if you're trying to have a 10 to 15% win rate this weekend, then you'll take that. That'll be your bet. Because that's what I would have done last week. I would have seen that and gone, hell yeah, he's going to score a third time. But sometimes you got to read the rugby league tea leaves. And when someone tells you got a 10 to 15% win rate this season in multis, then that's when you need to click into gear and not take them kinds of bets. Anytime try scorers. These are a couple I like. Braden Burns has scored at least 1 try in each of his last 5 away appearances, and that's paying a generous $3.20. In 5 of the Cowboys' last 6 matches, the opposition's starting right second row has scored a try, and that is that Oren Keeley, okay, and that's a really generous $6. Team to score the first try. The Dolphins have conceded the first try in each of their last 3 matches. So, boom, there you go. And each of the Cowboys' last 3 matches have been decided by a margin less than 6 points. It says a few stats for that first game. My multi, what's my multi going to be for that game? And I haven't researched. I haven't got any of my multis locked in because I'm going to pick them on the fly. So I'm just going to go with Dolphins to win. I'm going to go with Dolphins to win Avarillo anytime. Lock that one in. All right. Sharks Roosters. Sydney have won each of their last 9 matches against Cronulla in Sydney, but is that in the dark in the Shark Park? We don't know. 6 of the last 8 matches between Cronulla and the Roosters have gone over the total match points line. Daniel Tupou has scored at least 1 try in each of Sydney's last 3 matches. In each of Cronulla's last 3 matches, its opposition's starting left centre has scored at least 1 try. That's my boy Bobby Toys. In 3 of Sydney's last 4 matches as an underdog, the opposition's starting 5'8" has scored a try. And Connor Watson has scored a try in each of his 3 appearances with the Roosters as an underdog against Cronulla. So, for this one, guys, I'm just going to go Braden Trindle anytime. 1 try scorer. I'm taking... Whoa. Hey, this is free publicity. Sorry about that, guys. I accidentally pressed the back button. No, I'm not all that tech savvy like the kids nowadays. So yeah, Braden Trindle anytime is my multi for that game. And that might be one of the only ones that doesn't hit. It might be one of the only bets of the weekend that doesn't hit. My game of the round. Rabbitohs versus the Penrith Panthers. South Sydney have lost each of their last 11 matches against teams on a winning streak. Each of Penrith's last 6 home matches have gone under the total match points line. Try scorers in each of South Sydney's last 7 matches at Combank Stadium, its starting left wing has scored at least 1 try. I think they're going to play to him pretty heavy. I'm not sure. They still do have Alex Johnson out there, so me personally, I wouldn't pick Tyrone Munro. Alex Johnson has scored at least 1 try in each of his last 5 appearances against opponents that were ranked in the top 8. So, Alex Johnson's paying $2.06 to be clear. All right, so that is money. Whenever Alex Johnson goes over $2, that is when I load my saddlebags and I ride out of town. That didn't make any sense, but Luke Garner has scored a try in each of his 4 of his last 5 home appearances against opponents that were ranked in the bottom 4. So, yeah. And Brad Snyder has scored a try in each of Penrith's last 3 matches against South Sydney. This game, I'm going to go with Alex Johnson anytime. That's it. Alex Johnson anytime. Raiders versus Parramatta. Going to go with stats. Don't know, I was looking straight for a multi there. Canberra have won each of their last 9 matches against opponents that were ranked lower on the ladder. Each of Canberra's last 5 home matches have gone over the total match points line. Zach Hosking has scored a try in each of his 5 previous appearances in day matches at GIO Stadium in Canberra. Josh Adokar has scored at least 1 try in 6 of his last 7 appearances outside of Sydney. Sebi Chris has scored a try in each of his last 4 previous appearances with Canberra as a favourite against Parramatta. Huddy Young has scored at least 1 try in each of Canberra's last 3 matches against Parramatta. And 3 of Parramatta's last 4 matches at starting halfback has scored a try. It's Footy Dean. There's not many stats for Parramatta. Parramatta's really getting written off here, guys. I'm going to go with Hudson Young and Sebi Chris anytime. Huddy Young, he'll be keen to get a try, and because he feels like I haven't seen Huddy Young in a green jumper in forever. Legit the longest time, so pretty keen to see him back on the pitch. Should be down here looking at these, so you guys can be looking at the odds. Licking your lips. The Bulldogs versus the Dragons. Head-to-head, the Dragons have lost each of their last 10 matches on a 7-day turnaround. Each of the Bulldogs' last 5 matches have gone under the total match points line. In 5 of the Dragons' last 6 away matches, the opposition starting left wing has scored at least 1 try. And that is Jethro. Oh, Jethro. The new winger. That new fella. Yeah, you know him. Oh, yeah, you know him. Connor Tracy has scored at least 1 try in 4 of his last 5 previous appearances against teams on a losing streak. Gutho has scored at least 1 try in 8 of his last 10 appearances at a core stadium. Sorry, he likes to score there. And Sione Finau, I can never say that name. In each of the Dragons' last 3 matches, its starting left wing has scored at least 2 tries. So, Sione Finau. Don't know if you'll score 2 tries against Bulldogs, but it'd be cool to see. Me for this game, guys, I am going to go with Bulldogs. Bulldogs, Jethro. I'll just go Bulldogs and Gutho to score. Bulldogs, Gutho. I am picking these on the fly, all right? Because that's what you do. That's what you do when you go back to punting Boy Scouts, punting summer camp, whatever you want to call it. Manly versus the Storm. Head-to-head, Melbourne has won each of their last 10 matches at Amy Park. 10 of Manly's last 11 matches have gone under the total match points line. Tommy Taleo has scored at least 1 try in each of his last 6 appearances against opponents that were ranked in the top 4. Oli Katoa has scored a try in each of Melbourne's last 4 matches at Amy Park. Nick Meaney Nick Meaney has scored a try in each of Melbourne's last 4 matches against opponents that were ranked in the top 8. And Ruby G has scored at least 1 try in each of Manly's last 3 matches. There's a Harry Grant stat in here too, actually. Harry Grant has scored a try in each of his last 3 home appearances against teams that are on a winning streak. So, yeah. How's it G? I don't know. I think I'll just go, honestly, I don't know. Might just go Nick Meaney. And Jerome Hughes anytime. I could see that one not hitting, but it's the love of the game, isn't it? It's the love of the game stuff. Tigers, Titans. Head-to-head, the West Tigers have lost each of their last 7 matches on a 7-day turnaround. Each of the last 4 matches between the Tigers and the Titans have gone under the total match points line. Gold Coast have won the first half in 7 of their last 8 matches against the Tigers in Sydney. In each of the Tigers' last 5 matches, the opposition's starting right wing has scored at least 1 try. It's Jalen de Groot is playing on the wing. Adam Dewey has scored a try in each of his 4 previous appearances against the Gold Coast Titans. All right, and he was in Rugby League's try-scoring form last round. And Kieran Foran, in 4 of Gold Coast's last 5 matches at Leichhardt Oval, its starting at 5'8", has scored a try. Is Taylor May stat in there? Taylor May has scored at least 1 try in 5 of his last 6 previous appearances against opponents that were ranked in the bottom 4. Taylor May. We'll throw him in there just because I like him. Right. Well, I don't typically like him, but it's just cool that he's back. Final game of the round. The Knights versus the Wars. Newcastle have won each of their last 11 matches on an 8-day turnaround. 9 of the last 11 matches between Newcastle and the Warriors have gone under. Dom Young has scored at least 1 try in 8 of his last 9 home appearances against opponents that were ranked higher on the ladder. Leka Halasima has scored a try in each of the New Zealand Warriors' last 3 away matches. Kurt Capewell, in each of New Zealand's last 3 matches as a favourite, its starting left centre has scored a try. And in 3 of the Warriors' last 4 away matches, the opposition starting left centre has scored at least 1 try. That's Brady Best. So that's all the stats. Don't know if I even provided multi for the last game. Jeez, can't believe I missed that. It'll pop up on screen. It'll have popped up on screen anyway. I would have had it pop up on screen at the end of that whole rant. Let's just say it. But yeah, I'll put it in. I'll figure it out in post. But my multi for this game, I'm just going to go Bradman Best anytime. No, I'm going to dip my feet in hot water. I'm going to go Bradman Best anytime, and I'm going to go Kurt Capewell. Dip my feet in hot water, lad. No, that's too oversimple. I'm just going to go Bradman Best. I'm going to go Bradman Best, and I'm going to go Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. That's my multi, okay? It's locked in. Don't say anything else. That's it. Yeah. So hopefully we pick up the slack and we at least hit 3 of those. 3 of those would bring us up to like. I think it'd skyrocket us up to like 60%. 3 in 1 round. That's huge stuff. So let's put our prayers in and just hope and pray. Onto the board, we've got some pretty interesting board stats. Well, none of them are really stats, but I got a cool looking board. Come on, be honest. It's not even a board anymore. It's digitized. We've gone to the digital realm. If you watched last week's episode of Punters Playbook, alright, it was a little bit of a hard watch because I was still getting used to the board and how it worked, the new digital board. Because, the whiteboard you see in the background, like, it's cool, but it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort getting this thing ready every day. And I get sore wrists, okay? I get sore wrists writing on it. And the digitized version, I'm already here. I'm already sitting behind a computer screen doing this, so I may as well just type it up, right? Because we're not cavemen anymore. I could have been doing it on paper, but I had a whiteboard. Now I'm digitized. You get it. 2 sixes, half a dozen. Cash cows this week, guys. The Cowboys. The cows are in the cash cow box. They're $2.45. I think that they, against the Dolphins, Tom Dearden. It's a good style of bloke, and he plays a good brand of rugby league. Reece Robson. They've got a few studs on the field, and I think they do have a chance to beat the Dolphins. The Cowboys. Well, look, I think they'll be looking to get back a little bit of revenge after the Dolphins blew them out of the water. Not but 4 weeks ago, seems like. Anyway. Roosters, $2.25. Good chance the Roosters will win. Rabbits, $3.05. And the Titans at $2.55, all right? So, pretty good cash cows. The Roosters, for me, are a pick. They're a lock. Take the Roosters if you want to make money on the money line. That might just be my multi for that game. What did I do for that game? What's my multi? Braden Trindle? Fuck that. I'm going to do the Roosters. I don't know. It's already been put up as Braden Trindle. Waz in the lockbox. Waz at $1.45. The Storm at $1.33. The Doggies at $1.42. The Raiders at $1.26. And the Penrith Panthers at $1.38. So, yeah. You know, the lockbox, it's pretty bare. No one likes betting on the fucking favourites. Unless you're in Rugby League Boy Scouts and you're going back to the basics, in which case we will pick all of them. Long shots, Para, $3.99. Dragons, $2.95. Manly, $3.55. And the Knights are $2.75, all right? They're just teams that, I don't really see them winning. So, you know how long shots works. You've seen it all before. Try time. Try time is my favourite time of the round, all right? It's where we talk the nitty-gritty. Because when it comes to rugby league punting, man, try time is my pride and joy. It's my pride and joy. So, Jackson Paulo is back for the Cowboys. He's paying $2.35. That's great money for a winger. Kurt Donahue, $5.40. He's playing them back row. So, mid-winner, back row score tries. We all know this is pretty simple. It's rugby league. It's pretty simple. So $5.40 for that is insanely great odds. Daniel Tupou, my boy, $2.05. All right. Once again, good money for a winger. Trindle, $3.80. We spoke about him earlier in the video. Dilly Eds, $2.50. Trell Mitt, $2.80. Huddy, $2.20. Addo Carr, Joshy Boy, $2.25. Finau, how do you say his name? $2.20. Billy Kicks, my boy, Viliama Kikau, he's paying $3.20 to push his way over. Ruby G's paying $2.30. Elliot Katoa's paying $2.45. Taylor May, return game, $2.55 on Neds. Brian Kelly, $3.50. And Bradman Best, $2.70. And Adam Pompey, $2.90. So I haven't gone too extraordinary. Extravagant. I haven't gone too extravagant, too over the top this week with try time. I've picked wingers, I've picked centers, and I've thrown in the occasional back rower who scores tries. That's try time. Once again, that's back to basics try time stuff. That's real back to basics try time stuff. And then the trawler bet for this round, which we still have not succeeded in cashing in a trawler bet. We haven't brought in a nice big multi-tuner in our trawler net yet. So, trawler bet net. Trawler net bet. Trawler bet. Trawler bet for this week. Dolphins in the number 1 spot. Daniel Tupou in the number 2 spot. Taylor May in the number 3 spot. Bradman Best, number 4. And the Raiders, just to win, in the number 5 spot. That's paying $27.56. All right, so it's definitely not Rugby League immortality by any means, but it's Rugby League Boy Scouts. All right, it's learning how to tie a bowline. It's learning how to tie your first ever punting bowline. You've forgotten how to tie a bowline? Oh, you don't know how to tie a granny knot? A punting granny knot? We'll teach you. All right? You want to know how to tie a punting granny knot? You take all the wingers paying $2. All right? To increase a little bit of value, to do a bowline, you take all the wingers paying $2 and you throw in the favourite. So, don't pick back rowers. That's the board, and that's the trawler bet, and I think that's it. I think that's legit it. Haven't done UFC the last 2 weeks. I don't know. UFC's just not sitting right in my tummy at the moment. Not much good going on. Yeah, don't know. UFC's not sitting right in my belly. We will quickly just talk a little bit of Wednesday night fixture. Actually, I feel like there's no point. Paul Gallen's fighting SBW tonight. I was going to include some odds and stuff, but by the time you watch this, guess what? The fight's already happened. you're probably sitting here going, oh, SBW, chin Paul Gallen in the first round. Or Paul Gallen just bit down on the mouthpiece and walked forward. Zipping and zagging. Sticking the jab in his face. Paul Gallen is a real stick the jab in your face kind of boxer, I bet. I think I've only ever seen Paul Gallen fight once. That was against that giant tattooed Australian boxer. I don't know his name, right? I'm not a boxing guy. I do have a boxing YouTube channel if you want to go watch all that. All the boxing breakdowns I do. Along with, the C-tier UFC stuff. It's on there. But I've only ever watched one Paul Gallen fight. And yeah, he was nitty gritty. He's biting down the mouthpiece, high guard, walking forward, bobbing and weaving, sticking the jab out there every now and then. So I've only ever watched one Paul Gallen fight. So, but I'm going to watch it tonight, I hope, I think. I don't know. It depends how long this is going to take me to do. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Do I have anything else to say? Oh yeah, check out, subscribe to one, because why not? This is the best rugby league YouTube channel. We got everything, right? We got punting, and we got round recap, and we got it all. So, subscribe, because you don't want to be that one guy who's not subscribed to Fine Field Insights. And then check out my socials, Instagram, TikTok. I'm biting down on the mouthpiece, and I'm walking forward like Paul Gallen against SBW when it comes to creating content on social medias, TikTok, Instagram. Follow my Neds account. Bet better with Neds. Got a Neds group. Follow that. Follow Instagram. Follow TikTok. Be a G. Be awesome. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Punt hard. Take the simple stuff. Wingers over $2. Pick the favourites. Have a good week, guys. See you in round recap. Deuces.